All right. So I was talking about social proof. Social proof is typically identifying an individual, right, who perhaps has a different mode of behavior in a new environment. So the engineer or the social engineer takes advantage of the fact that this person, right, is unfamiliar with this environment, right? So he or she does not know how to deal with this particular environment. Then he steps in, wanting to assist you in doing that. For example, ATM card machine. Some people just sit there and just observe that, but this person doesn't know how to say, Madam, let me help you. And then that's it. And then the rest is just notice that they are just receiving debit, on their then likeness. Individuals can be influenced by things or people they like, and that's very common, you know. Social engineers strive to be able to, identify what it is that you like, how you behave, how you look, how you talk. There's some people that if you speak English, French, 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 now, they've liked you. There's no holds barred. Every other thing is gone. So as long as the person speaks fine, that's all. Some people, all you need to do is smell fresh. Some just wear good shoes. That's it. Some just know how to walk. That is it. Some just park a car there. That's it. So they take advantage of these human vulnerabilities and then they manipulate a victim. So why are we highlighting all of this? There are things that the organization, people who work within your organization, with respect to how attacks can happen, need to be educated. Then finally, fear. It is possible to manipulate a person with fear to prompt him or her to act promptly. That's exactly what most of those adwares do. The adwares suggest to you that you're about to lose an opportunity of a lifetime, could be scholarships. Now, for educational environment, people can actually get to fish, the community with mails about scholarship opportunities that exist in a particular country and it's all paid. Click on the link, they'll get your details. For what's happening, they don't hear from you anymore. They'll tell you, oh, sorry, you didn't make it, and then your identity is actually used somewhere else. That's some kind of fear. Somebody who's perhaps looking for promotion, wants to perhaps go ahead to do doctorate and is searching for opportunities everywhere. And because the money is very high, cannot pay, and sees a link somewhere where there are perhaps maybe almost free scholarship. Go ahead and click on it and then be compromised. So these are things that, like an overview of what social engineers actually use as a motivation, right? Which engineers their method of influence. So one is authority, one scarcity and urgency, social proof, likeness, and fear. For social proof, there's a clip I watched I think it's about 4 minutes or so, where people enter into an elevator. A lady was in the elevator already. She was facing the right place, and then some group of people entered and turned left. And after a period of time, they would turn right. Before you know what's happening, the lady joined them, and everybody busted into laughter. People always tend to, want to be socially correct by seeing what they consider most probably approved around the environment, and then take advantage of it. And if somebody also comes into a place and doesn't know how to act, that can also be an issue. If you see that within educational institutions, usually when students come in for the first time and registrations are going on, somebody doesn't know. The older students always take advantage of the younger ones that way. All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end. We've overshot our time. We have power today. So that's all we have for module 4, right? So the summary here is simply, why do attackers perform social engineering attacks? Simply, they just want to get credentials. What do attackers gain from victims of social engineering attacks? They gain access to credentials that are most likely very confidential, and they want to use it to impersonate or gain access. What are examples of social engineering tools? We mentioned a great number of them here. What are the methods of influence and how they are used? Fear, authority, social proof, and the rest of them. Thank you very much for your time today. That would be all for now. Are there any questions? Any question that anybody has to ask? This is the time. So I'm going to go ahead to unmute everybody. Yes, Mohammed Abubakar, go ahead and so you can unmute yourself now. Mohammed Abubakar Garo. Garo.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My question is that I did that lesson, online lesson. I have done everything, which I have answered all the exam.
Okay.
So, but the result, I don't know where to download the result.
Is it
My
result or
only they only
certificate?
send me the eh
Result or certificate?
no the certificate.
Were you the person chatting me earlier?
Yes, I'm the person I chatted to earlier.
Okay, so check, like I told you, go to your profile. Click. If it's not available yet, it's perhaps it's going to be available. Just give it time.
Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay, sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
You're welcome. So any other question? Anybody with any other question?
Yeah. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. Okay, network seem to be very um so this is administrator. I don't know who administrator is.
I don't know why the privilege was being given to me.
Okay,
Thank
this
you
is why.
very much
This is why.
for your
The moment any the host of
okay.
the meeting gets knocked off, for the meeting to continue, the rights are normally handed over to somebody. It does a random pick. So it randomly picked you. So please, everybody in the class, this may happen every now and then. If you happen to
I,
be the one who becomes the administrator, please ensure that you give the rights back to me once I come back in.
okay. I think it had been from the first class thing now. So I
No.
keep observing it. I wanted to ask the question, why is it so?
So
But
maybe
notwithstanding,
I'm thinking it's perhaps because of the I don't know, maybe the condition here is perhaps, the name, the alphabet. I don't know, maybe because it is
yes.
A. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Thank you very much
Thank you. You're
for
welcome.
your lecture and impartation.
Thank you.
So you talked about social engineering so much. I
Okay.
think that the basis of ethical hacking, and
No,
it
no, no,
talks
no, that's
about
today's
web.
topic. That's today's topic. Today's topic is
Yes,
social
yes,
engineering.
and yes, yes, yes. And when you talks about set, you talks
Okay.
about set,
Mm.
and again, you talks about share
Okay.
binding and reverse TCP.
Mm.
Assuming we decide to set up social engineering tools or any of the handle,
Mm.
how can we get a reverse share?
How can you get a reverse?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
is
So,
it
so,
true?
okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And you still talks about IP. Are
Mhm.
we using our public IP or private IP to get a reverse share?
Okay, so this is why one of the things I said at the beginning is it would be advisable for whenever you're using, one of the first things we talked about is to ensure that before you use any of these to get clearance, because you understand that you might be doing it on the network on which you are doing it might not be a network that you have authorization over or authority to work on. So it is safer to create a small lab and test this thing within your lab before you do use any of these tools on any, because as it is today, it could lead to litigations, right? So it's safer to always have a small lab in your environment. In the event that you don't have the money to buy that lab, what I advise people to do is to go ahead and install a virtual machine, then get the open virtualization appliances for all of these instances and install them, right? So with respect to IP addresses, right, you can decide to have your own private IP address and you do your own subnetting and choose what set of IP address will be considered as your engineering and then the reverse. You get my point? So please don't, as much as possible, I know that this link that I've posted and I've created, well, they're available in your curriculum, but the advice is one of the first things we've been able to establish from the beginning is to say that please do not use these tools except you have proper authorization. That was the first thing we talked. That was module one. Proper authorization is very, very clear. And if you don't have authorization and you are the orga, find out the policy of the organization and ensure that it will not put your organization in trouble, right? So that's just the way to put it. So, but to do the reverse, we are going to do a lab on it, and I'll show you how these tools work to be able to identify both reverse and the engineering itself.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I think you talks about validation,
Yes, input
validation,
validation.
validating. So when a site is not validate as a pen tester, so
Mm.
how will you know and how will you give advice?
So once you have a tool like the tool that I gave us earlier, that tool, what was the name of this tool? Sorry, let me quickly check it out. If you have
Beef,
Beef, yes,
beef.
browser exploitation framework, right? So what it does
Yes.
is it probes All you need to do is just punch in the website. It goes ahead, interacts with the website, and comes back with information about how the structure is, right? So now, typically, like I explained, it is expected that interactions that are done within web pages, within clients and web browsers, are done based on set criteria that protects the user and the servers, the client and the user servers. So that is why they build browsers the way they are built. That's why some browsers are a problem. Like there are some kind of browsers that people use to pull to do downloads and all. They have some kind of settings that are not allowed, they're not permitted within standard environment. The reason being that there is a pocket, there is a, how do I put that now? There is a set of information that, or there are certain criteria that are considered allowed. So a validation is given for every input. Each time you make any action from the client side or the server does a response from the server side, it should fit into the conditions. I said earlier also that within a client and a server, there is always protocol that ensures that they stick to what is expected. So the input validation highlights those conversations. Once it is less than or above it, then there's an invalid input detected. And once the invalid input is detected, it compromises the security state of that website. So typically with a tool like that, it will just go ahead and tell you and give you the details that this gap, as far as input validation is concerned, it is compromised. And that way, anybody from somewhere can go ahead and interact with it at any way that it decides. So these tools can actually help reveal those. So once that happens, another way to prevent it is to ensure that every website that is built for you follows standard, that the person who's building a website knows what he's doing, not just somebody who's learning or perhaps is compromised somewhere. So that's what I can advise.
Thank you very much. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. I hope during the course of this class, you will teach us to know if a site is vulnerable. I think that will be very important to us.
Yeah.
We are back to
Typically,
be a
right?
pen tester.
Okay, so even without telling you, without teaching you, right? Once you launch a browser, right, and your browser is a valid browser, it prompts you immediately to tell you that this site is not safe. Standard, right? So with a very good browser. But then since you are training to be a pen tester, without having to go to the site with a valid browser, you can use certain tools. All you need to do is just punch in the address. So we would attempt to see it. We will try. We will try Moku as it will be.
Okay, okay. There's a lot anyway. Thank
There's a
you.
lot. There's a lot.
See,
Like I said at the
I think
beginning,
at the most.
I said at the beginning of our class, I said, don't expect to, within the period we are going to be engaging, give or take, we might have maximum 12 or 13 contacts. This is the fourth contact. I don't expect all of us to know. The time we have is too small to even exhaust what needs to be known. Like I said, it's like somebody learning how to drive a car from a driving school, gets a certificate of completion of driving school, and expects that he can drive from here to Lagos or drive on the express. It will take a while. Some people actually master driving after a number of years. So it is expected after learning all of this, a practice that you engage yourself with on your side would help build that confidence. So don't put all your hope on me.
I think
That's what I'm saying, the caveat. I'll attempt to guide you, right? But then the bulk of the work will be you.
That's true. Thank you. Because it's a very long road to be a
Yes,
pen tester or
yeah,
cybersecurity expert.
yeah, it
Thank
is.
you.
It is. Thank you very
No,
much.
we'll set our lab up and be following you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
Nice. You
welcome.
try. You try. It's
I
a
did
good
try.
one.
I did try. Now God help me. Thank you very much. I think it's time. Let's leave. Let's go now because it's weekend. It's thank God it's Friday. Some people need to have time with family. All right. Thank you all very much. See you tomorrow. Same time, 8 to 10. Our next engagement is tomorrow. Thank you very much. Yes, be ethical. Thank you very much, Long Moon. For everybody who is going to be doing any of this, please be ethical about it because there are litigations about it. Of course, you know. Anyway, let's put the caveat, be ethical. It's just like saying no parking, right? Or cars parked at owner's risk. Let's keep putting the caveat. Be ethical is the message. Thank you all very much. Enjoy a great rest of the day. Good night and see you tomorrow.